and welcome to Panorama, coming to you live from NTA Network Center Jos. Minister of Mines and Steel Development inspects facilities at Metallurgical Center Jos. Plateau government inaugurates steering committee for the elimination of child labor. Management of Jos University Teaching Hospital calls for strategic intervention to strengthen its operations. I am Zenra Dingmun. You can follow this news broadcast live on our website nta.ng/live and on YouTube channel NTA News Online. You can also visit our Facebook page NTA Network News, Twitter NTA News Now, and Instagram NTA Network for updates. Ministry of Foreign Affairs has made contact in the Ukrainian northeast city of Sumy on quick evacuation of Nigerian students stuck in that region. Already, Minister of Foreign Affairs in a tweet said he has spoken to Ukraine's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dmytro Kuleba, on modalities for the evacuation of Nigerian students. Similar telephone conversation happened between Minister of Foreign Affairs Geoffrey Nyema and the President of Nigerian Students' Union, Feintola Damilola Moses, while the Nigerian ambassador to Ukraine is following up for the successful evacuation. In the meantime, more than 300 Nigerians from Hungary arrived Abuja this Sunday morning, making it the latest in the evacuation exercise embarked by federal government to safely bring back home stranded Nigerians who fled Ukraine. ECOWAS Parliament has adopted ECOWAS Vision 2050 with demands that member states muster the needed political will for implementation. Onengiye Fineface reports.
The parliamentary seminar on the ECOWAS Vision 2050 stated the roles of member states, the ECOWAS Commission and the ECOWAS Parliament. Member states are advised to take ownership and ensure sufficient resources to implement the vision. The ECOWAS Commission, on the other hand, is expected to stimulate the needed political will and establish effective steering and monitoring mechanisms for the vision. The Parliament, too, was tasked with the responsibility of providing effective oversight and budgetary appropriation for the vision.
Adapt its strategic plan to a new community vision and develop a parliamentary action plan in conformity with the pillars and objectives of the ECOWAS Vision 2050.
Report of the seminar was adopted by members at plenary.
I want to reiterate the full commitment of the ECOWAS Parliament to throw its weight behind the achievement of Vision 2050. We will coordinate with the Commission, we will coordinate with member states, and we are also going to ensure that for the next 2 years, while this legislature will be in office, we will use Vision 2050 as part of our programs.
Recommendations from the seminar will be transmitted to the ECOWAS Commission, the Council of Ministers and Heads of State by the Speaker, Sidi Mohammed Tunis, for further actions. In Monrovia, Liberia, Onengiye Fineface, NTA News.
Vice President Onshibajo says the traditional institutions, as beacons of morals and wisdom, remain critical in sustaining peace in the Niger Delta and surmounting the plethora of security challenges facing the nation. His visit to the paramount rulers of Warri and Uvui kingdoms in Delta State is therefore to strengthen the synergy between the government and traditional institutions in building a vibrant nation. Austin Edemodu reports that the Vice President equally attended the posthumous Thanksgiving service of his protege, late elder statesman Olorogun Patrick Sitoide in Warri, Delta State.
The Vice President Yemi Osibanjo being received by the State Deputy Governor, the Kinkinsi Tuaro, with a rousing welcome from other supporters. His first port of call was the Mother of Redeemer's Catholic Church, Warri, for the Thanksgiving service of late renowned legal luminary and nationalist Olorogun Patrick Sito Ide, who believed in the Nigerian project throughout his lifetime.
they are embraced and that are all
This is followed by the ambience of royalty heralding the Vice President's visit to the palace of His Royal Majesty Ogiame Otuashi III, Yolu of Warri. It was an opportunity for the Vice President to strengthen the bond of relationship between the federal government and the traditional institution towards sustaining peace and tranquility in the oil-producing communities in the Niger Delta through mediation and conflict resolution.
See that security challenges, all theft, and some of what we see in the Delta and the many of our producing communities are swiftly brought to an end. Security should be always work with security agencies, and we will continue to do so. Please let the President know that once there is anything that resembles a security situation, you can call us.
At the palace of His Royal Majesty Dr. Emmanuel Sideso Abe Wandi Ovie of Uye Kingdom, the Vice President reaffirmed the commitments of the government in maintaining the pride and sanctity of the traditional institution, even as their constitutional rules are being addressed at the National Assembly. The paramount rulers further prayed for more enablement to pilot the affairs of the country to a greater height. I'm Austin Edemodu, NTA News.
The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, will make credit facility available at single-digit interest rate to industrialists and entrepreneurs with a view to grow the economy and encourage export of commodities from the country. CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele, while on a tour of Lekki Deep Sea Project and Lagos Free Trade Zone, said the federal government is committed to sustaining a viable business environment for trade to thrive. Abolade Salami reports.
The Lagos Free Zone, with a landmass of 850 hectares, houses industries, petrochemical plants, Dangote Refinery, and the Lekki Deep Sea Port. Having a deeper understanding of the architectural design of the Lagos Free Zone, where about $2 billion has been invested to make the zone a business hub in Lagos, Africa's largest economy. Through this investment, investors said is expected to earn over $6 billion in the next 10 years.
Say that in my capacity as the Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, I will do everything possible to support whatever you need, because we know that in giving you those support, what you do is that you help to grow the Nigerian economy, you help to create jobs for our people, and you help to make life meaningful for our people.
While reassuring investors on the resolve of the federal government to drive economic growth and sustainability, improving trade facilitation through seaports was pointed as key, and efforts towards achieving this in top gear.
We have been clamoring that there is need for us to have more ports where goods can come in easily and go, and then export can also go out easily without any hindrance, in line with the way it's done in different parts of the world.
A skill center, which is basically a training center, so that people who need training should be trained first before they employ. Right? When you give people skills, they do the job better.
On the ease of doing business initiative of the government geared towards attracting more domestic and foreign investments, investors were assured of a sustainable monetary and fiscal policy. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
Towards transforming the minerals and metals sector as a major contributor to gross domestic product, the Minister of Mines and Steel Development, Olamilekan Adegbite, is calling for intense research work and youth empowerment in the minerals industry. This was due brings us details.
The minister was on a working visit to the National Metallurgical Development Center, established by the federal government in 1973 as a testing laboratory to handle analysis of raw materials for steel plants. Led by the Director General of the Center, the minister inspected facilities and spoke of the need for more research to be conducted for the realization of the objectives for which it was established.
A lot has been done here and a lot more to be done. Particularly, we are trying to support them. There's an MOU that has been signed with the DICON. And this could have come about if not for the COVID that disrupted, transportation and supply. Now, DICON was forced to look inward, and they found what they've been importing from China in Nigeria in Jos, even of better grade.
The Director General of the Center says the facilities are to enhance the Center's capacity for mineral identification, processing, metallurgical research and analysis, as well as forensic science.
We are therefore that you continue to assist the Center in these efforts and attending the level where they will not only contribute effectively to government's objective of transforming the minerals and metal sectors into major contributors to the GDP, poverty eradication, wealth creation, and revenue generation in the country. But also would like to concern and generating the income it needs to fund these expenses and research work.
The National Metallurgical Development Center is one of the key agencies in the mineral and metal sector whose activities are crucial in value addition and development processes in the entire mineral processing chain, from exploration to extraction and fabrication. In Jos, Felicia Daliop Samaila, NTA News.
Child labor retards the physical, social, cognitive, moral, and educational development of children. It is against this backdrop that the Plateau State government inaugurated a steering committee to eliminate child labor in the state. Ali Sabatukai Andrew has details.
Child labor has assumed alarming proportion, thus requiring global and national strategies to address. This practice, which harms children's well-being, undermines their rights to good living and denies them the opportunity to acquire basic education necessary for productive adult life. The development necessitated the formulation of national policy on child labor, a response to the growing concern and determination of the federal government to eliminate it. Plateau State is taking a cue from the initiatives of the federal government on this issue, hence the inauguration of this steering committee.
I hereby inaugurate you into this committee, and I pray and believe that you will excel in your duties.
It's a good cause, and I believe that we really put it into effect on the plateau. We will not just eliminate the worst form of child labor, but I believe that child labor completely can be eradicated.
That has any report of any wrongdoing like this, especially perpetrated against a child or a child who is being used for forced labor or child labor, we can easily get across to us.
Now to put all our hands on deck to work together to using the policy that is meant for the eradicating child labor in Plateau State.
The committee is made up of representatives of the civil society organization, Ministry of Labor and Employment, the media, CAN, JNI, community-based organizations, National Orientation Agency, and other development partners. In Jos, Alisa Butukai Andrew, NTA News.
With me in the studio is the chairperson, Steering Committee on Child Labor, Plateau State, Augusta Omachonu, to talk more on moves to eliminate child labor in Plateau State. You're welcome, Panorama, Ma.
Thank you.
Okay, so based on the reports we've watched, can you shed more light on this practice of child labor, that is?
Child labor basically is the engagement of children in any work that is harmful, that is dangerous to their physical well-being, social well-being, and moral well-being of the children. It hinders their ability to go to school, and it's also very exploitative on the part of children. On the whole, it does not make children to contribute their quota to the national development. So there is the need for us to eradicate this child labor.
Okay, so how did the national policy on child labor come about?
It is a growing concern of the federal government to ensure that children are given their proper place in the scheme of things, and for them to grow without being oppressed, without their rights being denied. So the government came up with the policy on how to eliminate child labor in Nigeria.
Okay, so Plateau State government recently inaugurated a committee to that effect. What are the expectations? What are the expectations of the people?
Well, the steering committee has just been inaugurated. Really, the steering committee is made up of stakeholders who are already into child-related activities. So the child labor part of it is that the steering committee will ensure that there's advocacy to the lawmakers, decision makers in the states, to key into the project and program of eliminating child labor, especially in its worst form, and to own it, because without the government, it will be difficult to sustain and effectively implement child labor. 2, it is a forum where all the stakeholders will network among themselves, will collaborate among themselves to ensure that there's sustainability and implementation of all the laws, conventions already in place fighting child labor to come into being. Then 3, all the steering committee, our intention is to go to the grassroots, to go to the local government where child labor is more prevalent, to ensure that the community leaders, the families, parents of these children are properly educated, are properly taught and given the right awareness on the negative and ease of child labor. Well, the steering committee will still intend to go further are properly documented and domesticated in Plateau State for it to be sustained.
Okay, so going forward, what do we expect from the committee?
We are looking forward to presenting a Plateau State that is free from child labor, a state that will be child-friendly, a state that children will be able to contribute their God-given potentials to the development of the states.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Omachon, for finding time to be on Panorama and shedding more light on the...
You're welcome.
All right. Panorama will continue after this break.
For now, the best and most efficient way to avoid getting infected is through regular hygienic and sanitary practices, as well as social distancing. As individuals, we remain the greatest weapon to fight this pandemic. By washing our hands regularly with clean water and soap, disinfecting frequently used surfaces and areas, coughing into a tissue or elbow, and strictly adhering to infection prevention control measures in health facilities, we can contain this virus.
Coronavirus is real. Steps to avoid this pandemic. Wash your hands regularly or sanitize your hands. Keep social and physical distancing. Avoid crowded places. Stay at home unless absolutely necessary. Don't touch your eyes, nose, or mouth if your hands are not clean. Avoid the spread of coronavirus. Coronavirus is real.
Thanks for staying with us. Management of Jos University Teaching Hospital is calling for strategic interventions that will strengthen its operations. Acting Chief Medical Director of the hospital, Dr. Poko Bupwada, made the call while leading board members on a tour of some facilities under construction and rehabilitation in the health institution. The report. The periodic visit of board members is to assess the level of performance and to find possible solutions to its challenges. Facilities inspected include the newly completed amenity complex, laboratories, as well as psychiatric ward. The board members also inspected the powerhouse, which was recently gutted by fire. They thumbs up management for sustaining operations in the face of daunting challenges, promising to push for quick solutions to the needs of the hospital.
What we have seen from the burnt power plant, we have seen the interventions that have been done there. There have been some ongoing projects, so we decided to see. The amenity ward is wonderful. I mean, it's completed. The CMD told us that they are hoping to put it to use this month. The intervention by the federal government has been very wonderful in this hospital.
The board has come personally to assess for themselves the level of damage and advocate for the intervention by the federal government. So I'm glad that the board is on ground and they're here to give us support, both moral and to meet the relevant authorities of government to ensure that at least this intervention comes speedily, because it's needed for continuous services in Jos University Teaching Hospital. However, at the moment, we are just making do with the generators.
The Chief Medical Director assures government of its commitment to provide efficient health care services to the people. Nigeria's Center for Disease Control, NCDC, has confirmed 3 new COVID-19 cases in the country. Katsina has 2 cases, while Kaduna has only 1 case. This brings the number of confirmed cases to 254,640 in the country, while the number of patients discharged is put at 249,171, with 3,142 deaths. Hearing in the case between the Commissioner of Police and Moses Oko, suspected killer of a student of University of Jos, Jennifer Anthony, has begun in Jos. The hearing is before Justice Samson Gang of High Court 5. Indeyan Andeba Gang reports.
When the case was mentioned for hearing, counsel to the defendant, Francis Nerod, says he was not ready for it and sought from the court to raise oral preliminary objection to what he termed preventing the court from dissipating energy that would not aid the cause of justice. But the prosecuting counsel urged the court to refuse the leave sought by the defense counsel. The judge overruled, saying the hearing will go on as scheduled. To this end, the prosecuting counsel, led by OC Legal Plateau Police Command, Muleng Alex, presented 4 witnesses to the court. Amongst them is the father of the deceased student, Anthony Oga, 2 staff of Dumos Percy, where the alleged crime was committed, and a police inspector. They were all examined and cross-examined, in the course of which the prosecuting counsel asked one of the witnesses to identify a fork suspected to have been found at the scene of the alleged crime, but was objected by the defense counsel that it was misplaced, as the prosecution had not made any application to tender it, on grounds that no proper foundation was laid and lacks merit. The prosecution argued that they had not tendered it as exhibit, but for identification purpose only. The judge overruled the defense and urged the prosecution to continue. Thereafter, other items, including a white bedsheet, a substance suspected to be marijuana, clothes in a polythene bag, and a lady's handbag, were admitted for the purpose of identification. The case has been adjourned to tomorrow, 4th of this month, for continuation of hearing. In Jos, Indeyan and Abuja, NTA News.
Let's join Clement Olorutoba for sports update.
Over 300 military and paramilitary officers led by the Chief of Defense Staff, General Loki Irabo, took to the streets at light hours of Saturday for a 5-kilometer walk and jog exercise to commemorate the 2022 International Military Sport Council.
This should not be a one-off event, it should be a regular event. Indeed, for you and I, it should be a daily occurrence because the demand of our job requires that we keep fit every day.
Season Day Run was held at the Agu-Irosi Cantonment, Abuja, and has the team running for peace. It also afforded another opportunity to foster unity among personnel of the armed forces. Meanwhile, more countries have continued to register their names on the medal table, with host China sitting atop with 6 gold, 4 silver and 6 bronze as the Beijing 2022 Paralympics enters day 3 Monday. Ukraine are second on the medal table with 3 gold, 3 silver, 1 bronze, with Japan occupying the 3rd place, having garnered 2 gold, 2 silver medals. 46 nations are currently taking part in the competition that started on the 4th of March and will end on the 13th. And finally, LeBron James scored a season-best 56 points to help the Los Angeles Lakers beat the Golden State Warriors 124-116 to end a 4-game losing streak. James scored 19 times from 31 field goal attempts in his highest point total since joining the Lakers in 2018. It was the 13th time James has passed 50 points in a match. With sport updates, Clement Olonutoba, NTA News.